The Yodel Kid was once an internet sensation. The video of his old country performance got 25 million views online. This basically made then 11-year-old Mason Ramsey a huge internet and country music star. Then, unbelievably, Mason disappeared. And what happened to the Yodel Kid will shock you. No one was expecting Mason that day in March 2018 at a Walmart in Southern Illinois. As a young kid, his nickname was Lil Hank Williams. Within weeks, Lil Hank would get called country's Justin Bieber. A local woman named Dana Tanner had heard Mason sing at regional festivals and talent shows before. Dana was in Walmart that day. She recognized Mason's voice ringing out through the store. She followed the sound until she saw Mason. He was dressed like a miniature opera star in blue jeans, leather boots, and a red bow tie. Mason wanted to perform for anyone who wanted to listen. Dana got permission to record Mason's performance, and she later posted it online. No one could have predicted how the world would respond. Within 1 week, Mason's rendition of Lovesick Blues by Hank Williams got over 11 million views online. He went on to record his version of the song. The song hit number 4 worldwide on Spotify's Viral 50 chart. In less than 2 weeks, Mason appeared on Ellen. He received a scholarship from Walmart, but Mason's biggest wish would also come true. It was a dream he had from when he was just 3 years old. Mason got asked to appear on the Grand Ole Opry stage. But the craziest and most unlikely opportunity that Mason received came from LA. 2 high-profile music managers wanted Mason to appear at Coachella. You won't believe how Mason and his family handled that request. Mason and his family didn't even know what Coachella was. But the music managers would not take no for an answer. They convinced Mason to appear at Coachella during a 3-hour phone call. On April 14th, barely a month after Mason's Walmart video went viral, he flew on an airplane for the first time. And Mason made his Opry debut. Then he headed out to Coachella in California. Mason became known as the Walmart Yodeling Boy, and he was transformed into America's meme of choice. Mason released a hugely successful debut EP called Famous. It contained 6 songs, and it combined Mason's classic country style with pop-friendly country. If that sounds like an easy overnight sensation, you won't believe how hard it actually was for Mason. He had to listen to 100 demo songs to narrow it down to 3 originals to put on his debut. That's a tall order for a young kid who went from unknown to world famous in just a few months. But then Mason just faded away from the spotlight. He didn't put out any new music after 2019. And for the last 6 months of 2021, he disappeared entirely from social media. Then in January 2022, shocking images were uploaded to his Instagram. The photos were accompanied by a direct message from Mason, but you won't believe what he said. Mason wrote, "Sorry I've been quiet on social media lately." He made a crazy confession. He said he took a break to live his life, and for that reason, he stepped back from everything for a little bit. Mason was 15 at the time he wrote this message, and that made the images he posted even more shocking. Instead of being thrust into the spotlight like country Bieber, Mason was attending high school dances, jet skiing on local lakes, celebrating his birthday, and the craziest photo of them all, Mason uploaded a selfie of him at his part-time job in a local pizza and sub shop. His followers could not believe where he was now. When Mason first shot to fame, his Instagram blew up immediately, and Mason scored more followers than country superstars like Tim McGraw, Sam Hunt, Maren Morris, and Kenny Chesney. Mason was a yodeling boy who had made country music cool again, and in 2022, his followers could not help but tease the young music sensation. Just a few years ago, Mason had gotten photographed with Shawn Mendes. He exchanged Twitter shoutouts with Lil Yachty, and no one could believe that the kid who'd had a hit song with Young Thug, Lil Nas X, and Billy Ray Cyrus was working a small-town Subway. Mason stayed humble and took the disbelief in stride. He wrote back that the place he worked at used to be a Subway, but new owners had transformed the place into a pizzeria and sub shop. Mason even posted a video of himself making his favorite meal at the restaurant, a pepperoni, mushroom, and jalapeno pizza. Mason's parents are John and Karen, but they're not in his life anymore. John and Karen had a big fight and ended up getting divorced. And because of their breakup, they handed Mason over to his grandparents, Ernest and Frances Ramsey, when Mason was just 3 weeks old. Ernest and Frances are deeply religious people who prefer old country and gospel music. That's why Mason started yodeling in the first place. One of the songs on Mason's EP poked some fun at his yodeling. The song was called Yodel Kid, and it contained some pretty shocking lyrics to be sung by a preteen boy. Where Mason loves modern country like Florida Georgia Line as much as the classics, friends of his religious grandparents questioned why Mason sang those scandalous adult lyrics. Shockingly, Mason's new LA managers were feeling just as guilty about putting the fresh-faced country kid into the music business. They knew there was a chance they'd mess it up if they did it wrong, and you won't believe what Mason's management team didn't do. They turned down offers from Mason to promote brands on social media for huge amounts of money, and everywhere he went, Mason had a publicist in tow. Mason was also asked to yodel for people. He must have felt a little bit like a circus animal. That's crazy, especially since yodeling isn't the only thing Mason can do. Reporters in local media who watched Mason grow up in Southern Illinois gave their side of the story. They all felt the same way. Mason wanted to perform. It was Mason's idea to walk into that Walmart one day and sing, according to one local reporter in Mason's hometown who knows parents who have pageant kids. His grandparents let him, and and they never forced him to do anything. Mason performs because he loves to, and he loves the music. Many local people following Mason could see how concerned his grandparents were getting about his newfound viral fame. They said his grandparents had been shaping Mason from a very young age to approach music the right way. Even when Mason, a kid who'd never been on a plane before, began crisscrossing the U.S., appearing on morning shows in New York, afternoon shows like Ellen, and big festivals like Coachella, and especially when he ended up back in Nashville to record his EP. His grandparents still demanded that he attended public school at least one day a week. That's the state law in Illinois, and the only way that Mason could graduate 5th grade and not get expelled. You won't believe another rule that Mason's grandparents made him follow. He never got his own cell phone. They did let him borrow a cell phone occasionally, but they always selected what Mason could view online. You won't believe what Mason did. Apparently, he didn't want a cell phone to check himself out online. He mainly used the phone to play Pokemon Go. Another thing that kept Mason's feet on the ground was being told by his grandparents to get out and play. They made sure that he got plenty of time to be a kid, even when they were on a jam-packed schedule that took them across the country. This widening circle of family, managers, the label, and Nashville all agree on one thing regarding Mason. They all want him to develop into a career country artist who's in it for the long haul. If that sounds like Mason's opinion isn't being heard, you'll be shocked to know the truth. Mason's heart is set on moving to Nashville, even though he's approaching his career right now through the eyes of a kid. He calls Music Row the coolest summer camp you could ever put in front of him. In Mason Nick's events, this is what he wants. When he stepped back from the spotlight, Mason did pop up here and there in crazy ways. In 2020, he yodeled in a Burger King commercial. Mason's last release was in 2019. It was an EP called Twang. And Mason also did something clever when he reappeared on social media last year. He used a song titled Before I Knew It from Twang as the background music in his uploaded videos about his life now. And his posts got a great response online. It sounds like Mason had a great plan for his future. What do you guys think about all this? What do you think about Mason stepping back from the spotlight? Did you listen to Mason's music a couple years ago? Are you still a fan? Let me know in the comments below.